As you can see, we are not in our normal spot in front of our Minnesota Vikings flag. Doing a video next to my beautiful wife. I am instead here with family, covering the legislative session in Pierre this week. So now I am instead the legislative session in Pierre, South Dakota, that is. Now, this week, I am still going to pump out Raiders content, doing a video today on the Las Vegas Raiders top 5 draft needs. Even though it was honestly hard. I had to ask my old man, Captain Prairie, should check out his YouTube channel, by the way, of like, okay, Dad, what else do the Raiders need? They don't really need a whole lot. But then I thought, in my good old-fashioned brain, that, you know, there's actually a couple different areas they can improve on. Not a lot, playoff team, but there's still some areas they can improve on. Starting with area need of number 1 in the draft, wide receiver. That's right. Now, I know what you're thinking. Henry Ruggs III, that situation, nothing but prayers for everyone involved. Didn't necessarily need before the season started. You didn't think wide receiver was a big need. However, given that situation, given the fact that Zay Jones was arguably one of your better receivers during the season, obviously Hunter Renfrow had a big-time year as well. But other than that, Bryan Edwards was meh. I can't really think of anybody else that really caught my eye. I mean, Deshaun Jackson had his moments, but I think that the Raiders here need to go with a wide receiver that is fast, that can just fly. I mean, that first round, they need to go. There's a lot, and we'll obviously put out draft profiles of receivers that we think they should draft, but they need to go wide receiver early and often. They need to, because you saw it against the Bengals. The Bengals had so many weapons. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, C.J. Uzomah. Yes, I got his name right. Joe Mixon. There's just so many weapons that the Bengals had that I think at the end of the day, if you're going to keep up with a team like that, you need to have some firepower. Now, the Raiders do have firepower. You know, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, like we mentioned. Deshaun Jackson had some moments out there, even in the playoffs as well. So moving forward, even guys like Bryan Edwards, who decides when he wants to show up, I don't know. Overall, there's a lot of talent on the Raiders, and I think that if you want to be a team that puts up a lot of points, you got to draft a wide receiver early and often, particularly in the first round. I think that's the way you got to go. Raiders draft need number dos, I think that's Spanish for 2, is guard. Yes. I think the Raiders, if you watch their offensive line as much as I do, you find a couple of things. Number 1, you got Colton Miller at left tackle. You saw how that. I'm not trying to take shots here, but overall, you saw how a player like Alex Leatherwood played at guard, and it wasn't awful, but it also wasn't great. I don't know. He just wasn't meant to play tackle. I think he could be a better guard than tackle, but I do think at both guard spots, you need to bring in competition. I don't care. Everybody is on notice this year. I mean, whether it's John Simpson who plays left guard or whether it's, you know, Andre James, at center, it does not matter. We are bringing in competition. We are bolstering this Raiders offensive line, and I think it starts at guard, both guard spots and center as well, because if Derek Carr is going to have his time, if he's going to get the protection he needs, you got to protect him. You got to get some interior offensive linemen. I think that's a big key. Now, I'm not ready to give up on Leatherwood yet. I think moving forward, they have to. They got to give him another shot. Be patient. He's only going to be a second-year player. He's got what you want, and I think he can still make some noise and be a good player on the inside there. But make no mistakes, the Raiders need a guard moving forward to help out that offensive line and potentially, you know, make it not. I would say that was the weakest part of their team, and I mean it wasn't even that weak. Obviously, they still made the playoffs, but still they need some help. Raiders draft need number 3, also Spanish for Trace, outside linebacker. I think. You know, you brought in KJ Wright, who is like, he's not necessarily in the back end of his career, but I mean, it's just, you watch him, he's getting a little older. He's not the KJ Wright of old. He is a guy that can still bring it, obviously, but obviously the Raiders need to go outside linebacker. I think if you look at their entire defensive line, guys, you got Max Crosby and Unique Ngakoue on the edge there. Jonathan Hankins had a good year at defensive tackle. So did Solomon Thomas. And we'll address defensive tackle in a bit here. But overall, I think the Raiders need to go outside linebacker, preferably someone that can get pressure on the quarterback, preferably someone that can also pass cover or have be good in pass coverage as well. I think you need to find a player there because I feel like the Raiders, like their defense is good. I think the Raiders honestly just need to find like maybe an Anthony Barr-esque type player. I don't know. I don't think they should sign Anthony Barr. I think they need to find a guy at his caliber. Like we mentioned, Quentin Jefferson, Jonathan Hankins at defensive tackle had good years. Darius Philon, he was a big loss. But Divine Diablo, KJ Wright, Marquell Lee, Corey Littleton, those guys, they're respectable. And even guys like Nick, I never get his name right, Kwiatkowski, whatever, Nick Morrow. I think at the end of the day, the worst thing you can do is not bring in competition. If you have an outside linebacker that can play, great, but you need to bring in competition. You need to bring in an outside linebacker that's just a menace. I mean, you can't sit here and tell me you wouldn't like Micah Parsons on your team right now. Like, let's be real. Like, you want a guy in there that's going to bring pressure, that can cover running backs coming out of the backfield and make some noise. So I think Raiders draft need number 3 outside linebacker, and it's no question. Raiders draft need number 4 defensive tackle. Solomon Thomas had a big year, like we said. Darius Philon was a big loss in the middle there as the season wore on. Also, the end of the season, excuse me. Like we said, Quentin Jefferson, Jonathan Hankins, we love what we saw, but I think you need to get a young defensive tackle in there that will change worlds. And I'm not exactly sure where they could go a lot of different ways. You could find a lot of good talent in the draft here, because I think there's a lot of guys like Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia, those boys, DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M. There's some talent here in the interior defensive lineman world that I think could do a lot of good for the Raiders. But if I was a betting man, I think Jordan Davis is the man you got to go after in the draft. Like we said, we'll make videos about that, but overall, the Raiders are a team that they need to make some noise, and that the defensive interior of that line. I think if you get a young defensive tackle that can either contribute or learn right away, that's the goal. Raiders draft need number 5 tackle. Now, Colton Miller is going to start left tackle. Good. Don't need to worry about it. I had an over 84.0 PFF grade this year. Great. You can set it, forget about it. Don't worry about it. Right tackle, on the other hand. Now, again, this is not us attacking or not necessarily anything against Brandon Parker. But I think, obviously, Alex Leatherwood did not pan out at right tackle there. And that's okay. I think you might be able to salvage his career as a guard. You might be able to do that. But Brandon Parker had a total of 9 penalties this year, 8 sacks allowed, 881 offensive snaps this year, 55.7. Now, not a liability, but I think you can upgrade at tackle and you can do some damage there. And I think that if the Raiders can get the right type of offensive lineman in there, a lot of good can come of it. And I honestly think that getting that right lineman in there, the correct lineman, that is right tackle, right lineman, whatever. At the end of the day, if they can get the correct lineman in there and just give Derek Carr a little bit more time, a little bit more protection, help in the run game, I think that can do wonders for the Raiders. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Make sure you guys leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. I greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. Hope you guys like our couch in the background. Also, make sure to check out our website at thesportsbeatpodcast.com. In the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. So give us a like and a follow there. We would greatly appreciate it. But let us know what you guys think about the Las Vegas Raiders' top 5 draft needs.